Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do the second part of my track breakdown of my latest release, Out of My Head, which is out now on Groove Selects. So let's get into Ableton and see how I arranged this one.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Okay, so we're inside Ableton, so we're going to go from start to finish and see how I arrange this one, because especially in that last break, there's something that quite interesting happens in the arrangement, which is a cool technique to teach. So if you haven't watched the first one where we break down the elements of a track and each individual channel, then make sure you go and watch that one. But let's kick it off and just work our way through the intro. So starting off with the kick and the bass in with a low cut, the clap, and quite a lot of our glitchy percussion. Starting to bring the vocal chops in as well. And then all we had there before the drop was this riser effect, which is even very quiet in the mix. And the main thing that helps this transition is the reverse hat and the stutter effect within this hat loop. Super clean, super nice transition into the drop there. Added in quite a few of the hats already. So nice and full from the get-go, so it's really interesting for the listener from, 30 seconds on. And then transitioning into the breaks, because this is where most of the work needs to be done in the arrangement, is sort of transitioning from section to section. We have the kick coming out, so we've got a little double kick there. We then have the reverse hat. We have this gated 606, which helps some of the hats come out. And then if we go down to the synths, we have this reverse bass synth, as you can see here. Okay, so let's work our way through the breakdown, see what's going on. So we have the kick, which just has a few little stutters. So a double kick there. And then we've got a 32 note roll there, rising up into an 8th note. We have the bass line in throughout, but with the low end cut. So when the drop comes in with the low end, it has some really nice impact. We have some reverse bass hits to help transition the bass in and out. On the drum bus, we have some reverb automation, some delay, which is later on, some drum glitch, which is the FabFilter Saturn, and then we also have some Tantra, but that looks like it might be used later on. So nothing too much going on with the drums, and we have this stutter here with the hi-hat there, which is on a 32 note roll. Going down to the perks, we have reverb, we have perk glitch, which is FabFilter Saturn again. I'm using the presets in FabFilter, so if you go down to there and go to the effects, you can get some really interesting glitch sounds from there. We then got the crystallizer. If you haven't watched any of my videos yet and haven't bought the crystallizer, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to. So we've gone crystallizer on the default setting, dry wet on 100, and then we've added a filter freak with this preset here, which sounds wicked. So we can just see what that sounds like. So it's creating a lot of delay and this really nice phasing effect. I actually haven't used that effect with a crystallizer and then a filter freak afterwards in quite a long time, so I'm definitely going to do that after this video. And then other than that, on the vocal, we've got some reverb and some delay and the addition of this new vocal chop. And then we've obviously got the main vocal as well, which comes in right before a drop. And then we've got the bass hits, which I'm just using for effect again to help transition in and out of sections of this track. We've got another bass hit and the acid within here just to add some new noises within the breakdown. If we go down to the sound effects, we have a white noise riser, a reverse kick, and then a glitch sound effect. And that is it. So nothing too complicated, just a lot of automation to really help get things moving and sound like it's glitching out, which is what I was trying to achieve with this track. Button halfway through the video, but I just wanted to advertise my brand new website, brendanjamesmusic.com. So you can head to the link in the description of this video and go there. I'm offering now one-to-one tuition, mixdowns and masters, and in the coming few months there will be sample packs on there, and the next track from scratch series will all be on there. So please just check it out and let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you're going to use those services. If you're having struggle with the website, just drop me an email, which is on the website, or drop me a message on Instagram, and I will let you get back into the video. Look. So after 8 bars of a drop, very simple transition. And then if we look at this short break, we've really cut away a lot of the energy built up just to have the impact where the vocal comes in. So we've done this by using the reverse bass, reversing some of the drums again, and some effects if we go down. And we've just left some of the glitch in there, so it's still got some sounds playing and it's not just the vocal, so it doesn't sound too empty. And we've got another vocal chop coming to keep carrying it along, and a new percussion hit as well. So now we're using filtering within the break. So we have a look over this breakdown because there's a lot more going on compared to the first break. So we have, from top to bottom, we have the low end cut, and then we've got a utility gain going down the bass, so it's just getting quieter and quieter over time. This is just helping for when the vocal's fully in. So it's a nice smooth transition in and out between the section where we have the beat and then just the sort of glitched out vocals doing the work within the breakdown. So if we move down to the drums, we've also got a filter going all the way out on the drums. And we're applying some reverb and delay and some effect to the drums, even though it's being filtered. This has a really nice effect then because it sounds like it's almost getting engulfed with the reverb and delay as it gets filtered down. Keeping the percussion in, and we're using the same send and return effects to create that effect of movement and like everything's getting a bit washed out. We've also filtered out majority of the vocal chops, so it's not clashing with the glitched out vocal that's coming in. can see the filter work on this vocal. And then we can have a look at the synths, which again are just there for effect. They're not really doing anything from a groove perspective or rhythm. They're just to help transition in and out of different sections. And then effects wise, we've got this effect, which is really helping the transition between the beat and just the vocal. It just helps distract the listener from the transition between beat and vocal where it might seem a bit jarring. We've just got a sound in there which helps that transition. Effect wise, we're just using all the same risers and stuff like that from the first break over here, but we've got the introduction of this modular riser, which has its low end in, which is super nice, which really helps when the beat comes in. It doesn't sound too jarring and too in your face. It almost feels like the low end is being brought back in by a filter, but we're just using an effect. Similar sort of thing going on compared to the drop after this one over here. We've just got a very subtle change after 8 bars with the vocal drop and the kick coming out for a beat. It's very a good idea to just have a subtle change every 8 bars and then a more drastic change every 16 bars. So you can see here, kick comes out for a beat and we had a little vocal effect with the new vocal coming in. And then if we skip to this part over here, which is 16 bars after a drop, we've got a more drastic sort of transition or change within the beat. And we're doing the exact same thing where we've cut out most of the elements and we're just letting the vocal do the work. And we're using the kick to have some really impact there because there's nothing else going on, so that kick is really going to cut through. And then from a beat perspective, we've only got the acid coming in and some new vocal chops. And you can see I follow the pattern of what I just talked about. 8 bar more subtle, 16 bar more drastic. So we just had our 16 bar, which is this one here where my mouse is. Now we're going back to 8 bar, which is a bit more subtle. And then if we skip it to the main break, because this is where it gets a bit complicated. So we pretty much just followed the same as the first break there. And we got a fake drop. So really cool breakdown because it's got that fake drop there. You think it's just going to drop in and do the exact same thing it just did in the break that we had before it. But no, it goes into a new part of the vocal and the more well-known part of the vocal, shall we say. So I won't go over any of this section because this is an exact replica of the breakdown we just went over. You can see I've got the filtering on the drums, volume automation on the bass, so on and so forth. But if we look how we transition into this fake drop. So the only difference compared to the previous one is we have the hats filtering up. And then we've got some of the hats filtering down again. And we've just got a few little drum hits, as you can see. That one there. We've got some clap hits up there, just to help distract the listener and add some more tension to the brain. So let's look at this part now, because this is where it gets a bit more complicated. So from the arrangement point of view, we were doing fine with regards to phrasing, but until we added in this part of the vocal, this is which throws off the phrasing, because I wanted it to have a vocal like this. I wanted this part of the vocal go straight into this part of the vocal. Now in the original a cappella, it was a different part of the vocal, so to get it in time and to get it in phrase, I would have to put it in a different position, and it just wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have sounded right, and it wouldn't have had the flow. So that's why the drop is actually on halfway through 138 bars. Now, just to get finished going over this breakdown, there is nothing new added in, just these drum hits like we've been over, and the only other thing added in was this texture noise. Just again, the track was quite empty, so we can get away with just adding a bit more texture, but we're using all the same elements that we've used in the other breakdowns. We've just put them in different places. So like this one here, we've just put before the drop. So it fades really nicely into the drop there. Now, if we look at what I've done, because the arrangement has forced me to put it on to the 138.3, you can see though that everything is still 8 bars long. So if you're doing this, you still have to make sure everything is 8 bars long, because then it still means a DJ is still able to play it and still play it in phrase. Now if we tried to do something like this, it clearly wouldn't work because this loop is only 8 bars long. Or if we did something like this and then tried to get it back into phrase on the bar, it wouldn't work, because then you would have half a bar, which is too long of the original melody. But you have no other choice to have it like this, so where it lands in between bars to keep the phrasing. And keeping the phrasing is more important than getting it onto a bar, because no one's going to know that your arrangement is half a bar out, but they will know if you are half a bar out with regards to phrasing. So let's just continue working through the track. We have really got nothing else in. We've just got the whole beat in, some new hi-hats and the vocal chops. And you can see I did that same technique, 8 bar more subtle, 16 bar more of a drastic change within the beat, or even a short break as we've got here. And this short break's a bit more interesting because we got it to drop in with just the kick and the bass, and then the full beat comes back in. We haven't used any new effects again. This is all just chopping up parts of the arrangement that we've already got. And then we're going into the outro, so it's pretty simple from here on out. We have the exact same thing I've just been over with a small change and small variation with the 8 bar. Then we've got a more drastic change on the 16 bar going into the outro. And then we remove all the hats, just the kick and the clap and the bass all the way up until the end of the track. So super simple, but it was definitely worth mentioning, definitely worth going over, because the point of having the arrangement or the drop on a 0.3, most people would get stuck at this point and go, you can't do this, it's, you know, not right, it needs to be on the bar. And they're wrong, really. You can definitely just have your track drop on the 0.3 as long as your phrasing is correct for the rest of the track. So as long as everything is still in an 8-bar orderly fashion after that, and you don't try and do something clever by doing a 10-bar and then an 8-bar, that's going to knock the phrasing out and it just won't work. So having it drop on the 0.3, if you have to, will definitely work. There you go, that is the end of that video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and got some good insights on how to arrange a track, and often how keeping it simple is more effective. The track is now available on all platforms and the links are below if you want to stream that one or grab it on Beatport. It'd be massively appreciated. And I will see you back for the next video.